For 26 years, Jerry Taft delivered the news from this studio each weeknight here on WISN 12.
And today we remember Jerry Taft. The former WISN anchor passed away at his home in Texas on Monday.
And in just a moment, his longtime co-anchor and our friend Kathy Michaelby will join us. But first, we dug into the archives and found a 2014 conversation between Kathy and Jerry discussing his life and broadcasting legacy.
Take a good hard look at the entire field, because now,
before the horse race campaign, Channel 12 was hardly at the gate.
There's a wave, and if you ride the wave, wow. And Kathy Michaelby, we rode the wave.
You rode the wave all over the world.
Jerry Taft found himself in a front row seat in 1980.
I've been working in New Haven, Connecticut, got the job in Milwaukee.
He teamed up with Vince Gibbons on the anchor desk.
And he said to me one day, all of a sudden, a lot of people are telling me how good looking I am.
It's disgusting. Nobody should be that good looking.
I said, Vince, you're sitting next to me. Of course you're good looking.
Local and world news were on a collision course. The hostage crisis in Iran, the youngest, Kevin Hermaning from Wisconsin. His mom on a mission to travel anywhere to win her son's freedom. I was working across town at Channel 18, checking out the competition.
And I looked up and I saw that they had sent you to Paris. And I was like, that's my television station. It was an aggressive approach to covering the news.
Precisely. You did what needed to be done. Which reminds me, we need to put Dan Lewis in the list of people who were great.
Jerry credits our boss at Channel 12, General Manager Mickey Hooten, for setting it all in motion, recalling so many names along the way.
And Mike Anderson, and Tom Sutton, and John Milan.
Cynthia Collier.
And
Buddy Rosh.
Yeah, Eleanor Hayes, Marty Burns-Wolf. We just had an amazing string of people who were seriously there to do what needed to be done and to do it their way.
I am right now in Havana, Cuba.
Which led to swapping a couple war stories, which is what people who have shared newsrooms do. First, Jerry recalls Tel Aviv.
I have never in all of my life, and I've been shot at by the Fedayeen, and I've been shot at in Salvador, and I've been in Vietnam when I thought I was being shot at, but I've never been as scared as I was in Tel Aviv with those rockets coming down right around us.
I got pulled into the office one day and they said, you're the only one we can send to Afghanistan. And I went, wow.
I knew about Somalia.
In Somalia, I chose to go. They offered me the inauguration or Somalia, and I said, I think I'd like to go to Somalia.
You're a better man than I am.
I don't know.
And sometimes when you talk about the old days, you learn something new about something that was old hat. Early on, Jerry took a comment from a viewer after giving a speech.
One of the people said to me, I can't believe that Better Tomorrows thing you do.
Good night and better tomorrows.
Recalling his reply, he rankled and was thankful for the insight, all at the same time.
And why can't you give me 2 seconds at the end of the newscast
for
one of the people who didn't have a better day today?
Milwaukee will tell you what Milwaukee wants to tell you.
And that's the most joyful thing about that town to me, and I think to any reporter who's worked a lot of places. And I'm going to come back and check on you and make sure you're having better tomorrows.
And Kathy Michaelby is joining us here this afternoon. Good to see you, Kath.
Good to see you guys. It was kind of fun going back in time there. Very interesting.
I guess
goodness.
I'll start it off here, Kathy. What did you learn from Jerry Taft on your years on the anchor desk? And how did he help you become a better journalist and anchor?
Well, I'll tell you, he was unflappable. He said he was scared when he was, on one of his remotes around the world. But as I was getting ready to even do this little live shot during the newscast, I'm kind of like, oh my, I wonder if I'm going to be nervous about being on TV. Well, guess what? Jerry never showed any sign of being nervous. You just learned by example from Jerry.
Absolutely, Kathy. And I have to ask you, because as we're taking that trip down memory lane, I'm sure there are a lot of memories that are popping up. What's one of your favorite ones of maybe you and Jerry, maybe you worked on something together or just simply in the newsroom?
I loved doing the Christmas specials with Jerry. It was so much fun. We were freezing our tails off, if I may say that on television. I didn't get away with that. And at the same time, we would just kind of reminisce about growing up, about Christmases, and not any particular story, but it was an opportunity to just talk about a different level of our lives. And that was true in his retirement as well. I stayed a pretty good email pen pal, as did Mark, with Jerry throughout the years that he's been retired. And I have to say, the guy did it right. He managed to do his career the way he wanted to. And for the most part, he managed to do retirement in just fine fashion. So, we should all kind of just maybe say together better tomorrows, because that seems to be a fantastic sign off and mantra.
Kathy, I'm so glad you brought that up. It was great to reminisce with you. I won't tell some of the stories we used yesterday on the phone. That probably can't make air, but that's okay. I mean, the thing is, just like you said, I was worried about Jerry because, he was so into working here.
Yes.
And then I was like, he's never going to be able to retire and move away and walk away. But he did. He clean break. And he went down to Texas, and people are like, well, oh yeah, he doesn't care about Wisconsin. That's completely untrue.
Not true.
Completely untrue. He wanted to get closer to family, and he had an absolutely wonderful retirement. And yeah, we're all going to miss him for sure.
Hey, he worked at the Alamo. He was a greeter at the airport. He had a cause of, Meals on Wheels. He really just kind of broke out in his in another fashion of. Can you imagine having Jerry Taft rolling up to your house with a Meal on Wheels cart and telling you all kinds of stories about what he did during his lifetime? I don't even know if he would do that, because he's kind of humble underneath all of that bombastic nature of his. What an amazing guy. Just an amazing guy.
Jerry being this serious newsman, Kathy, what about the lighter moments? What about the sense of humor for Jerry Taft?
Oh, he had a sense of humor. A Texan has an amazing sense of humor. Everything he talks about. Mark, I'm sure you got emails about how he was facing some challenges, some, failing health. He had an operation or something, and the next thing you know is I get some email that says, "Oh my gosh, Kathy, I feel like a cool watermelon on a hot Texas day." They open me up and blah, blah, blah. I don't mean to be, people might be eating at home, but at any rate, that's how he felt. And it was just such an amazingly Jerry way to tell you something that was serious, but at the same time with that kind of positive nature that he seemed to just exude.
And he was so light. And we haven't even talked about his love of music, his love of Elvis.
Oh.
We haven't even gotten into that. There's so much there,
God,
and I just want to
dancing
say
around the newsroom. That's not a sight everybody should see.
But thanks to everyone who has responded on Facebook and all social media. It's
incredible.
been fun. He touched so many people here.
And he was a role model to those that never met him, like me. I didn't get the pleasure to meet him, but definitely learned a lot from him from afar. So, Kathy, thank you so much for putting that piece together, for taking us along the memory lane there. Always appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Lunch soon, Kath.